This is a saga of an island rising from the Atlantic Ocean, a land born of fire. Life was quick to find it. An island of violent extremes shaped by elemental forces. It was a challenging place in which to live, but a host of wild travelers made it their home. Humans also came, Norse explorers, relations to the Vikings. The people called their new country the Land of Ice, and alongside nature's colonists, they searched for opportunities in this battleground of eternal opposites. Iceland was forged in geology's recent past. Lava welling up from the mid-Atlantic ridge thrust a huge section of the seabed above the surface. Now, many eruptions later, Iceland is almost half the size of Britain and is still growing. The volcano's raw power convinced the settlers that a supernatural force lived beneath them. They named it Surtur, the fire giant. And Surtur was not alone. The Icelanders came to terms with the many forces of their new land by recognizing other deities. This way they could even interpret the lives of their wild neighbors. When the whooper swans returned each year, the people thought they were Valkyries, the beautiful battle maidens of their gods. They saw the swans' excitement and imagined that these Valkyries had traveled to Earth especially to bathe. The swans were only part of a great surge of life bound for these newly created shores. But Iceland lies by the Arctic Circle, in the middle of the Atlantic. The cold ocean was a formidable guardian. Anything trying to settle here would have to be tough. Eider ducks crossed the sea easily, and on these new coasts they found enough food to support enormous flocks. But it's one thing to make the journey and another to stay. The greatest challenges facing all of Iceland's settlers were the forces of cold and storm which had claimed this land soon after its fiery birth. For half the year, the volcano's frigid adversaries coat the land in ice. For the Icelanders, these were the frost giants, the malevolent spirits of the cold wastes and mountains, the enemies of life. But to some settlers, the ice itself became an ally. From their feathered feet and dumpy bodies to their tiny bills, ptarmigan are well shaped to conserve their precious warmth. They needn't just endure the frost giant's violence, they can turn it to their advantage. Snowdrifts give the ptarmigan a step up among twigs which are too thin to bear their weight, but where there are buds to snip. The ptarmigan can make do like this, but their lives are about to be transformed by the dawn of a new power. The Icelanders called him Freyr, the fertile god of sunlight. Every year, Freyr must confront the forces of winter. By May, the battle is won. The frost giants are dissolving, retreating before the sun. Freyr holds the power of life and growth, the spring. Mountain avens turn towards him. Petals curve to reflect his warmth onto their golden hearts, to bring on their seeds. Great northern divers arrive from Britain as thawing lakes unlock their food supply. Where there was ice, now they can hunt fish as the days grow ever longer. The land has changed. And so have the ptarmigan. But at first, only the females. The males have different priorities. Their winter camouflage has become a banner to brandish. A female is attracted to the eye-catching display, but the conspicuous male may bring disaster upon his mate. A gyrfalcon has seen him too. Many gerfalcons prey on nothing but ptarmigan. Yet far from being arch-enemies, to the early Icelanders they were sisters. And like sisters, their lives are intimately intertwined. The success of these, the most powerful of falcons, depends entirely on the numbers of their prey. In legend, the falcon killed her sister without at first realizing what she had done. And then it dawned. Her cry of anguish still echoes over these desolate hills. Far away, where eroded volcanoes drop sheer into the sea, a great gathering of life has begun. Every year, Iceland's coastal cliffs and islands attract 13 million seabirds. Among them, more puffins than nest anywhere else in the world. These multitudes are fed by the richness of the Arctic seas. Guillemots return to the cliffs, packing more tightly together than any other bird. The territories they defend are the world's smallest, 20 in each square meter, so new arrivals are not welcome. In their dense colonies, serious fights would be disastrous, so the Guillemots have a code of conduct to stop disputes escalating. When a bird bows and turns its head away and then pretends to preen, all violence stops. In this way, guillemots keep their crowded ledges safe enough for them to lay their precious eggs. They cram onto the cliffs because above them lurks a predator. Arctic foxes originally came here from Greenland. They traveled in winter over the frozen sea. For them, this is a land of opportunity. These cliffs are the fox's hunting ground, so she marks them with her scent. But her hunt will not be easy. Fulmars can spit a blinding oil in self-defense. And below, there lies a lethal drop. The fulmar spits, but the fox knows this trick and grabs its head from behind. When people first came to Iceland, they found little to eat in the volcanic interior, so they too turned to the cliffs, as they still do, to take a share of the sea's bounty. The birds which lose an egg will lay again. People once traveled for days to exploit this brief abundance, bringing home enough eggs to feed themselves for months. The fox will also take more than she needs and bury it for later, when she'll have cubs to feed. Today, guillemot eggs are a delicacy which fetch £1 apiece. But even though the collectors carry thousands away, they will have no more effect on the immense numbers of birds than the hunting foxes. In the heart of Iceland, it's a different world, one where winter never ends. Spurning the crowded coast, pink-footed geese deliberately court the frost giants. They have flown 1,000 kilometers from Scotland to the high marshes of Þjórsárver, one of the most remote places in Europe. For the geese, this is a perilous time. They have come here to nest, but soon they will also molt their wing feathers, and they will be unable to fly until they've grown new ones. So the goose, sitting in this open tundra, will be exposed and vulnerable. It's essential that she can trust her mate to keep guard. A solitary fox can threaten the pair, but can't easily kill them so long as they stand their ground. Foxes are scarce here, as they and the geese face the same harsh forces. This is midsummer. For nearly the whole year, Þjórsárver is utterly uninhabitable, so there are hardly any predators, which is why the geese make their long migration. Rather than leave the nest now even to drink, the female collects snow from her back. The challenge facing the geese which nest here is to survive the assault of the frost giants themselves. Here in the center of Iceland, the frost giants rule all year. This is their citadel. Vatnajökull, the largest ice cap in Europe. Its ice is almost a kilometer deep. Iceland's frozen heart lies directly above the upwelling of molten lava which created the land. This sapphire lake hints at the fires beneath the ice. Even in its fitful sleep, the volcano melts a new underworld of ice caves. Iceland's settlers knew that Surtur's power could be wildly creative, yet he could also destroy. One day, they believed, he would bring their world to an end. Surtur's power extends beyond the ice fields. His fires and hot gases even dissolve the rocks, and from their remains fashion a tortured landscape. And the volcano's heat is joined by the sun. Now Freyr is at his mightiest. It's June, and the forces of cold are spent. The melting ice, their lifeblood, streams away, swelling Iceland's rivers. from winter's prison, the water will transform the land and present life with new opportunities. The pounding falls are a formidable force in shaping this land. Their work continues all summer long while the bright sun rules the sky. And here at Detikos, the greatest waterfall in all Europe has carved an immense canyon. The falls are impassable barriers. Atlantic salmon swimming up from the ocean will choose other rivers with smaller cascades. They're traveling upstream to spawn. The fish drive themselves hard. For these marvelous fish, the pure glacier-fed rivers of Iceland make this one of their last strongholds. They will have to leap several times before they can continue their journey. In their world full of bubbles, the salmon are not alone. Harlequin ducks are at home in the whitest water. They live here because the rapids supply masses of food for aquatic insects. The ducks dive to seek them out. The Harlequins River flows through one of the world's most volcanic regions. It comes from an extraordinary lake called Mývatn. Surtur sleeps below this lake. Its islands are craters formed in the violent meeting of water and molten rock. In summer, Freyr's sunlight streams into the lake. While from below comes water which Surtur has hoarded for 100 years, warming and enriching it with volcanic minerals. In such a fertile broth, plants flourish. Some which would normally grow as separate strands clump together to form these odd lake balls. And insects thrive, bloodworms feeding on the plant remains. There are billions of them living in this lake. It's this wealth of life which makes Mývatn one of the most attractive places in the world for ducks. Midway between the old world and the new, Iceland's position is unique. Only here can mergansers from Europe stray into the territory of birds from America. These are Barrow's goldeneye. In America, they would have nested in tree holes, which gives the goldeneye a problem, because here there are no trees. But Surtur offers them an alternative in the lake's volcanic shores. Safe in a cave made of lava, this goldeneye's eggs have just hatched. Soon she will lead her family to the lake, where an extraordinary event is about to begin. Mývatn means Lake of the Midges. Slavonian grebes know the signs. The lake's bloodworms were midge larvae. They're starting to emerge. They have only one purpose now, but not all of them will succeed. To have any chance of escaping the hungry birds, masses of midges emerge at once and start to swarm. Incredibly, the males seek out females by the different sound of their wing beats. Then, rising together like columns of smoke, they will mate and die. Mývatn owes its swarms of life to the unique blend of Freyr's long summer days and Surtur's fires beneath. Geysers explode with Surtur's energy. Their warm outflows make perfect landing places for the wind-blown spores of algae. Plants which are used to more hospitable lands flourish in the warmth. Thyme and small adder's tongue, which grows here and in the Azores, thriving in the company of volcanoes. And in this most volcanic of countries, this Arctic battleground, fire clashes with ice. Beneath the great ice sheet, Vatnajökull, Surtur awakes. In 1996, this gigantic eruption melted 3,000 million tons of ice. Immense pressure was building. Soon it would lift even the unimaginable mass of the ice cap above. A colossal new force was about to be unleashed. In a single day, 3 cubic kilometers of water escaped, and this normally small river swelled until it outstripped Niagara 5 times over. Thousand-ton icebergs, the size of houses, were swept down in the flood. Nothing man-made could stand in their way. This is Iceland's most important highway. It was their biggest flood for 60 years, but the Icelanders are used to rebuilding this road, and the great skewers are used to seeing it washed away. These immense floodplains have become a permanent feature of the land. Yet even in their most violent conflict, fire and ice have together created a home which suits one creature right down to the ground. From all over the North Atlantic, great skewers gather here, in this desolate spot, to raise their young. There is nothing on the almost lifeless plains to sustain these seabirds, which poses a problem for the parents. A skewered chick can't eat flowers. Great skewers and their smaller cousins, the Arctic skewers, must pluck food from the sky. They head for some of the busiest seabird islands which lie nearby, each one an old volcanic summit. They are home to millions of nesting puffins. Underground, the young puffins wait for their parents to return from the sea, but some are flying into trouble. Skewers are pirates. The stakes are high. The chick must eat, but so must the skewer. It must catch the fish in midair or lose them to its following of kittiwakes. Recently, the kittiwakes on this island have learned that they don't always need to follow the skewers. They can ambush the puffins themselves. The puffin escapes with part of its catch. It will have a better chance of reaching its burrow if it hides in the wheeling mass of others. The sea around Iceland yields enough fish to support all the puffins and their pursuers. And for those who know where to look, it casts up other riches. This coastline is shared by several Arctic foxes, but they avoid each other as they beachcomb. When the people came, they, like the foxes, had to find some of their food on the shore. The waves even brought them stranded whales, whose enormous bones litter the dunes. And still today, in Icelandic, whale stranding means a stroke of luck. The sea also provided the settlers with fuel and building materials. Timber, 10 years afloat, drifting here from distant Siberia. The logs were beyond price in this almost bare land. At their den above the shore, the foxes have cubs. They're just 5 weeks old. They're starting to enjoy the birds their father finds on the beach, but sometimes only because they're another excuse for a game. The cubs will still be suckled by their mother for some time to come. In the relative safety of an offshore island, 2 of Iceland's other colonists have been brought together in a unique partnership by the need to fight the cold. Their relationship has spanned 1,000 years. These are wild eider ducks, but they're being farmed. Eiders have come up with a remarkable material to protect their eggs from chilling, and the eider farmers have found a way to share this warmth without harming the birds. The ducks pluck down from their own bodies. It's the best insulator in nature, and they use it to line their nests. A few days before the eggs are due to hatch, the farmers make their rounds. From each nest, the people can collect just 17 grams of down. That's about the weight of a teaspoon. In return, they protect the eiders from predators, and in these havens, big colonies build up. The hay is to keep the eggs safe and warm until the mother gets back. This is the down from only half the colony, 1,500 nests. Dried and cleaned, it will sell for £600 a kilo and be made into coats and eiderdown duvets as protection from the coming winter. Above the mountains, the frost giants are already mustering. Freyr is overcome, fading with the return of winter. Even now, Surtur, stirring below Lake Mývatn, offers a brief respite from the plunge into frost. The lake will not freeze, and Barrow's goldeneye can live here all year round. Surtur's heat even persuades some summer visitors to stay on. Hooper swans, the Valkyries. The sight and sound of them must have cheered many a Viking heart as the days grew ever colder. Iceland's settlers lived with the spectre of the frost giants who could overcome them at any time, and it preyed on their minds. They wrote of a future with 6 terrible years of frost. A time of doom which life could not escape. It would be the end of their world. Except Surtur. He replies with flame. Seared from the earth, the people, the gods, the frost giants, and every trace of life would be swept away at Ragnarök, the last cataclysmic battle. Despite appearances, this is not how everything ends. As the writers of Iceland sagas knew all along, it's exactly the reverse. Far from this being the end of the world, it's the birth of a new one.